Tuesday, December 19th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a prank phone call leading to an arrest in New Canaan, a missing girl found, and much more. Frank Granito has your forecast, and later on a Nutmeg Sports Update, and Donald Lang will join us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, locking your unattended car does no good if you then leave your keys accessible. That's the message from Trumbull Police this week. According to the department, numerous cars have been stolen from the parking lots of area gyms recently, including 8 in the last month from LA Fitness at the Westfield Trumbull Mall. Now, in every case, the owners have left their keys unattended, either inside of clothing pockets or in unlocked gym lockers. Now, police have been working closely with mall security and gym management to warn patrons of this recent theft trend and to identify those responsible. Police remind citizens to always safeguard their valuables and vehicles by keeping their keys with them or in a secure location at all times while they work out. Now, leaving these items in unlocked cars or in the pockets of clothing placed in the gym area or at fitness clubs is providing an easy target for thieves. And in other news, Hearst, Connecticut media reports that the accused robber of bar in Stratford apparently made his plans using inside information. Stratford police say that Jakeem Amir Brown, a self-professed stick-up man, accused of stealing the cash payroll belonging to strip club owner Vincent Curcio Jr. and then shooting his bartender in the process, had been tipped that the cash would be in a bin under the bar by a former bouncer at that Main Street business. Now, on Monday, the 27-year-old Brown, who is awaiting trial for allegedly exchanging fire with police following a shoe store robbery in Bridgeport November 16th, pleaded not guilty before Superior Court Judge Robert Devlin to his first-degree robbery, assault, and threatening and gun charges. Now he asked for a jury trial, and that case was continued to January 22nd. Now, Reginald Woodward, the bartender at Bar Lounge, is recovering following 2 operations at Bridgeport Hospital for a gunshot in the abdomen. Police say Brown confessed to 7 robberies, including the one at Bar on November 14th. And after issuing a community alert yesterday, Bethel police say they have found a missing teen. Police reported a 13-year-old girl missing yesterday on Facebook and asked for help in finding that teen. Thankfully, about 5 hours after that message was shared, Bethel police say that that girl was found safe. And in other news, an alleged prank phone call in New Canaan resulted in an arrest for second-degree harassment. 21-year-old Corey Roth of New Britain surrendered to New Canaan police on December 14th after learning of a warrant for his arrest. Now, the arrest followed an investigation stemming from a phone call and voice message made to a New Canaan Wells Fargo bank employee back on October 17th, in which the caller spoke of being a murderer who would kill himself if he was found by police. Now, New Canaan police said the employee that received that message was upset by it and concerned as to whether a crime as mentioned in the message had actually occurred. Now, even though the phone number of the caller had been blocked, police discovered the phone number, and with the assistance of New Britain police, they identified Roth as the individual responsible for that phone message. New Canaan police also report that the crime described in the voice message did not actually occur. Roth has a court date of December 27th and faces up to 3 months in jail. And a propane truck rollover in Bethany closed parts of Route 42 and 63 in Beacon Falls and Bethany Monday evening. Several residents nearby were also evacuated as a precaution. By about 8:45 last night, state police reported that that scene was cleared and only minor injuries were reported in that accident. And Stratford finally has a budget for the 2017-18 fiscal year, though not everyone is pleased about it. After a brief discussion before an audience concerned about possible layoffs of teachers, the town council voted at a special meeting on Monday to approve a $217.51 million spending plan for the current fiscal year. Now, that vote came after the approval of nearly $2.83 million in adjustments from former Mayor John Harkin's proposal. That includes $692,000 reduction for contractual settlements, $112,000 for sewer usage at town buildings, $40,000 in reductions for the payroll of town council clerk, and $120,000 cut in the payroll for the Stratford Police Department. Now, the council also voted to approve a property tax rate of 39.97 mils. That's up nearly a full mil from last year's rate. Well, most of the hundreds in the Stratford High School auditorium had hoped for more funding for the Board of Education to prevent planned layoffs of some 40 teachers and staff. layoff. Well, town council members speaking on the issue said the Board of Ed should try to work out something to prevent those layoffs that School Superintendent Janet Robinson announced last week. There's much more on that story at StraffordStar.com. We're going to switch gears now, throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at your forecast. Frank.
All right, thank you, Kate. We're looking at a much warmer day outside right now. High of 50 degrees expected with a mix of sun and clouds through the afternoon. We will see winds start to pick up later on in the day, though, gusts as high as 30 miles per hour this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies overnight and a low of 34. Still a little breezy out with wind gusts around 20 miles per hour. Cooler out tomorrow and partly sunny skies with a high of 41. You're going to see those winds sitting around 15 to 20 miles per hour again, and then continuing to get cooler overnight as temperatures fall all the way down to the low 20s. Mostly sunny skies later on in the week. A high of 34 on Thursday, so still getting colder as we head for the weekend. Partly cloudy overnight, moving to overcast before Friday and a low of 24. That'll do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng will join us with a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports Update, and we have more local news coming up after this.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all, from Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Whether it's work or play, our Ram trucks get the job done with unparalleled style and performance. Call, click, or stop in to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck that you've been looking for. Family owned and operated for over 50 years. Save thousands at the Big Finish 2017. Now through December 31st.
Today's coffee break is brought to you by the Jiva Center of Stratford, where staff believe true healing comes by nourishing the mind, body, and soul. Located at 2900 Main Street, Jiva offers yoga, Reiki, massage, workshops, and retreats. New members to Jiva get 30 days of unlimited yoga for $30. Find out more at jivacenter.com or call 203-354-7747.
At Galt, we always put you first. As your full-service home heating partner, we provide expert delivery, installation, and maintenance for all your heating needs with knowledgeable, friendly professionals that give you peace of mind 24/7. Galt Family Companies, you first since 1863.
If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866. If you've ever...
Welcome back to this December 19th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. Time to throw it over to Donald Eng to get a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, we had some big moments in publishing on this date, Kate, starting in 1732 when Benjamin Franklin first publishes his Poor Richard's Almanac. Now, the book was filled with proverbs that preached industry and prudence, and it was published continuously for about 25 years, averaging 10,000 copies a year in sales. By the late 1740s, though, Franklin had lost interest in publishing, was turning his focus instead to science experiments and, as we know, politics. And speaking of politics and publishing, 1776 on this date, Thomas Paine publishes The American Crisis in the Pennsylvania Journal. That's the one, these are the times that try men's souls. Due to the very short enlistment periods, George Washington's army, which had numbered 17,000 just a few months before, had dwindled to less than 6,000, with most of the men's enlistments ending on December 31st. Now, the plea for men to see the war through to its conclusion resulted in enough soldiers staying with the army that recruiting was never again a critical problem for Washington. Feeding the recruits was, but that's for another update. 1997 now, 20 years ago, James Cameron's epic drama Titanic opens in theaters. It would go on to become the highest grossing movie in history and make stars out of Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. James Cameron on the left there was already a star. The movie won 11 Academy Awards, including Best Visual Effects. And speaking of visual effects, the crew actually built a replica Titanic that was about 90% the size of the real one. They floated it in a 14 million gallon tank, then actually destroyed it when they filmed the scenes of the ship sinking. I probably should have given a spoiler warning there. And now, finally, now we go to 1998 for this.
The question is, what are we going to do now? I have accepted responsibility for what I did wrong in my personal life, and I have invited members of Congress to work with us to find a reasonable, bipartisan, and proportionate response. That approach was rejected today by Republicans in the House, but I hope it will be embraced by the Senate. I hope there will be a constitutional and fair means of resolving this matter in a prompt manner.
That was President Bill Clinton reacting to the House of Representatives approving 2 articles of impeachment against him, charging him with lying under oath to a federal grand jury and obstructing justice. Now remember, Special Prosecutor Ken Starr had originally began investigating Whitewater, the Arkansas land deal, way back in 1994. It had then morphed into the Monica Lewinsky investigation when Starr learned that Clinton had lied about the nature of his relationship with the intern. When special prosecutors start poking around, they are empowered to investigate any crimes they uncover. That is your look back in history for today, December 19th, and I'm Donald Dang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, more than 500 people signed a petition in support of Tribus Beer Company's proposal to establish Milford's first craft brewery at an old industrial site. That, according to Milford resident Brett Brosder, who started the petition. Now, that petition at change.org states that Tribus Beer Company wants to invest in a better Milford by establishing a new craft brewery at 100 Raton Drive in Milford. However, making this project a reality is contingent on getting approval from Milford's Planning and Zoning Board. Now, the petition was launched less than 1 week ago and aims to encourage the local Planning and Zoning Board members to approve the request from Tribus to establish the brewery with a patio and pub. Now, supporters of the proposed microbrewery squared off against neighbors at a recent Planning Board meeting, which was attended by about 50 people. You can get more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And Ridgefield's Community Emergency Response Team is looking for drone pilots for its new program. Standing outside the Yanity Gym last Thursday, December 7th, Sean McAvoy showed the Ridgefield Press how quickly drones can be deployed to survey areas otherwise inaccessible to people on foot. As the Deputy Planning Chief for the Office of Emergency Management, McAvoy thinks it's a capability that will benefit the town's disaster response. Well, the program would be run through the department's volunteer CERT team, which is a civilian team that coordinates relief efforts with the department after major emergencies. The team is looking for about 10 operators to join the program. Volunteers will undergo training to bring the program up to FAA standards, as well as training that all CERT members go through to learn how to coordinate disaster response efforts. To get involved, you can contact Sean McAvoy at ridgefieldcert@gmail.com. There's also more information at theridgefieldpress.com. And participation in sports has increased at Wilton High School. That, according to Athletic Director Chris McDougall, who provided an update on the school's athletic program during a Board of Education meeting earlier this month. McDougall said that total participation so far this year, they're up 66 athletes, and that is not including the upcoming spring season, which is their most popular. He noted that this year's fall sports participation with 466 students is the highest he's seen in his 5 years as athletic director. McDougall said on average, they have about 60% of students who play at least one sport, and he's expecting that to go up this year. The high school currently has 30 sports teams and one special team, with 9 sports offered in the fall, 12 in the winter, and 10 in the spring. Cheerleading, of course, is active both in the fall and winter. Well, the school also holds sporting events for Wilton United, its new unified sports team. Much more at wiltonbulletin.com. And in other news, kids can now use their Milford Library cards to check out backpacks filled with items to explore the outdoors. The library is offering 4 nature-themed backpacks, including coastal, woodland, astronomy, and seasonal themes, and each one is stocked with exploration tools available for checkout for 1 week using a public library card. Now, each backpack contains tools for youngsters to explore nature, as well as field guides and written materials to tie in the library side of the new outdoor program, which they're calling the Outdoor Project Library Backpack exploration program. There are journals with prompts so children can write down what they've seen or experienced. Now, Michaela O'Keefe, who worked on the project as part of her participation in the Milford Parent Leadership Program, said she hopes to connect children to science and nature exploration and encourage them to become citizen scientists while enjoying some fun activities. Now, REI donated the backpacks, the Autobahn donated items for one of the backpacks, and the Junior Women's Club donated $200 for that. There's more on that story at milfordmirror.com. And people put Christmas lights on trees, shrubs, houses, barns, and even fences to spread holiday cheer. But the Cathra family of Shelton puts lights on a vintage airplane, and many people have noticed. Now, homeowner Nora Cathra says that everyone knows the airplane house. Well, that tradition started in their Shelton Avenue front yard back in 2006. That plane is a 1940 single-engine Stinson, and a friend originally brought it to the Cathras so Dean could work on it. Well, that friend, who's since passed away, gave them the plane. And this year's airplane is decorated with red, white, and blue to honor the American troops. Catherine noted that many Stinson planes were used in the military, especially during World War II. There's more on that story at SheltonHerald.com. We're going to throw it back over to Frank Granito now for your Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
All right, thank you, Kate. And we are gearing up for our first live broadcast of the winter season this afternoon. We'll be at Bridgeport Central High School, 5:30 p.m. tip-off between the Hilltoppers and the Brian McMahon Senators in girls basketball. Let's look back at last night girls basketball schedule. First, though, Darien topped St. Joseph 48-43. Chrissy Fiore leading all scorers in that game with 16 points. Trumbull, the defending FCAC champion, took care of Bridgeport Central 86-19. Julia Keckler led the scorers with 15 points. Brady Lynch had 10 rebounds. Christina Schuler, a good night, 12 points, 7 rebounds in the game. And finally, Fairfield Ward and Ridgefield, two of last year's semifinal squads, squaring off. It was the Mustangs on top 47-27 in this one. Olivia Parisi with 19 points, Libby McKenna with 15, Sabrina Grizafi leading the Tigers with 10 points. We'll have more on these games later on this afternoon on Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock. We'll look at some of the other games around the conference and, of course, get you ready for tonight's game between the Hilltoppers and the Senators. For now, though, we'll go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap the top stories we're following today after this.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to coastalorthoct.com. Like them on Facebook.
Alpine Limousine is New Canaan's premier global transportation solution. Experience the finest in personalized transportation services in our pristine fleet of 2017 model year cars, with the area's most well-trained and vetted staff of professional drivers. Call us today at 203-966-4111. Alpine.
Welcome back to this Tuesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Well, locking your unattended car does no good if you then leave the keys accessible. That's the message from the Trumbull police this week. Now, according to the department, numerous cars have been stolen from the parking lots of area gyms recently, including 8 in the last month from LA Fitness at the Westfield Trumbull Mall. Now, in every case, the owners have left their keys unattended, either inside of clothing pockets or in unlocked gym lockers. Police have been working closely with mall security and gym management to warn patrons of this recent theft trend and to identify those responsible. Trumbull police remind citizens to always safeguard their valuables and vehicles by keeping their keys with them or in a secure location while they work out. Now, leaving those items in lockers unlocked or in the pockets of clothing placed in gym area and fitness clubs provides an easy target for thieves. And Hearst, Connecticut media reports that the accused robber of bar in Stratford apparently made his plans using inside information. Stratford police say Jakeem Amir Brown, a self-professed stick-up man accused of stealing the cash payroll belonging to strip club owner Vincent Curcio Jr. and then shooting his bartender in the process, had been tipped that the cash would be in a bin under the bar by a former bouncer at that Main Street business. Now, on Monday, the 27-year-old Brown, who is awaiting trial for allegedly exchanging fire with police following a shoe store robbery in Bridgeport November 16th, has pleaded not guilty before Superior Court Judge Robert Devlin to first-degree robbery, assault, threatening, and gun charges. Now, he's asked for a jury trial, and that case was continued to January 22nd. Reginald Woodward, the bartender at Bar Lounge, is recovering following 2 operations at Bridgeport Hospital for a gunshot in the abdomen. Police said Brown has confessed to 7 robberies, including the one at Bar back on November 14th. And in other news, after issuing a community alert yesterday, Bethel police say they have found a missing teen. Police reported a 13-year-old girl missing yesterday on Facebook and asked for help in finding that teen. About 5 hours later after that message was posted, Bethel police say that the girl was found and is safe. And an alleged prank phone call in New Canaan resulted in an arrest for second-degree harassment. 21-year-old Corey Roth of New Britain surrendered to New Canaan police on December 14th after learning there was a warrant for his arrest. The arrest followed an investigation stemming from a phone call and voice message made to a New Canaan Wells Fargo bank employee back on October 17th, in which the caller spoke of being a murderer who would kill himself if he was found by police. Well, New Canaan police say that employee that received the message was upset by it and concerned as to whether a crime mentioned in the message had actually occurred. Well, even though the phone number of the caller had been blocked, New Canaan police discovered the phone number, and with the assistance of New Britain police, they identified Roth as the individual responsible for that message. New Canaan police also report that the crime described in that voice message did not actually occur. Roth now has a court date of December 27th and faces up to 3 months in jail. And according to state police, a propane truck rollover in Bethany closed parts of Route 42 and 63 in Beacon Falls and Bethany Monday evening. Several residents nearby were also evacuated as a precaution. By about 8:45 last night, state police reported that that scene was cleared and only minor injuries were reported in that incident. And Stratford finally has a budget for the 2017-18 fiscal year, though not everyone is pleased about it. After brief discussion before an audience concerned about possible layoffs of teachers, the town council voted at a special meeting Monday to approve a $217.51 million spending plan for the current fiscal year. Now, that vote came after the approval of nearly $2.83 million in adjustments from former Mayor John Harkin's proposal. That includes $692,000 reduction for contractual settlements, $112,000 for sewer usage at town buildings, $40,000 in reductions for payroll of the town council clerk, and $120,000 cut in payroll for the Stratford Police Department. Now, that council also voted to approve a property tax rate of 39.97 mils. That's up nearly a full mil from last year's rate. Well, most of the hundreds in the Stratford High School auditorium had hoped for more funding for the Board of Education to prevent planned layoffs of some 40 teachers and staff. Well, town council members speaking on the issue said the Board of Ed should try to work something out to prevent those layoffs that School Superintendent Janet Robinson announced last week. There's more on that story at StratfordStar.com. Well, let's get one final look at the forecast with Frank Granito. Frank.
All right, thank you. And again, Kate, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds through this afternoon. Temperatures sitting in the low 50s. It's a little more mild out today. We'll start to get windier this afternoon. We could see gusts around 30 miles per hour. Those gusts will continue on overnight, a low of 34 with the wind between 15 to 20 miles per hour carrying into tomorrow morning. Partly sunny tomorrow, a little bit cooler out, a high of 41 and a low of 23 overnight as those colder temperatures continue on a little bit towards the second half of the week. Mostly sunny for the first half of the day Thursday, but we will see some overcast skies moving in overnight as we could see some showers hanging around this weekend. That'll do it for this weather update. We're back at 2 o'clock for Nutmeg Sports. For now, though, we go over to Kate.
Thanks so much, Frank. We're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 with the latest local news and more. Have a great day.